right, hello, welcome to the Hold My Helmet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Will Reichling.
I'm your co-host, Dylan Boyle.
Dylan, welcome back. You know, we're starting to get into preseason. Jets-Browns are on as we speak. Zach Wilson was okay. Not great, not terrible. We'll get into that later. Now that we're getting further into the season, well, the saga of the offseason has been the running backs. Again, the newest addition of the running backs, Jonathan Taylor.
And here we go, episode 25 about running backs not being paid.
Here we go again. He requested a trade. Jim Irsay denied it. Definitely disagrees, does not want to trade Jonathan Taylor. He's, quote, "If I die tonight and Jonathan Taylor's out of the league, no one's going to miss us. The league goes on. We know that."
What does him him dying have to do with anything? Like
I don't know. I've been trying to figure this out all day.
I read that quote and I was trying to put it together. Like, is he saying like what that he really doesn't matter? Like
I think that's what he's saying. But like, what we're talking about running backs here. We're talking about your running back, not you. No one cares about owners. No offense,
but you got to realize that Jonathan Taylor like basically carried their franchise. You know that's all the Colts were.
Yeah, 2 years ago he was special.
I know, but like
he was hurt a little bit last year. But even last year when he played, he was
when
special.
you think about the Colts, the first player that comes to mind, Jonathan Taylor. So for the owner to even be saying that, disrespecting his name like that is just insane.
And even more disrespectfully, Dylan, the Colts were contemplating whether to move Jonathan Taylor to the active non-football injury list because he complained of back pain that didn't exist when off-season workouts ended in mid-June during his physical. Now, Jonathan Taylor denies all of this, says there was never any back pain at all. So now it's battle, again, tit for tat between owner and running back. Saquon Barkley, John Mara, Josh Jacobs, Mark Davis, and now we got Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay.
Well, it's really messed up what he's doing because he's kind of ruining his, not reputation, but you know, if other teams do pick him up, they're going to be concerned about these problems that aren't really even a problem. So, not to mention, it's just so spiteful for them to do. You know,
like, no, you're right.
He's an owner; he should be acting like an owner, and he's really not.
And you know, I feel like ever since Peyton Manning left, he's kind of gotten a little overly cocky over his team, and he's starting to be like a meddler, like Jerry Jones a little bit. He's starting to meddle with the team, kind of get involved where he should get involved.
No, that's what I'm saying. He should stay out of it.
They have a very smart GM in Chris Ballard, and I feel like he's just getting in the way of the development of this team. Mm-hmm. All the time he's meddling with stuff, you know.
No,
like,
I know.
Like Carson Wentz, not good anymore. But he had one of his best seasons in Indianapolis, and just because of one game, the Jacksonville Jaguar game, he got so impatient that he moved him out of town. Now that might pay off because they just drafted Anthony Richardson, and he looks like he's going to be special.
Oh no, I'm excited to see him.
But it just goes to show that he's just very impatient, and he's like a ticking time bomb. Jim Irsay, he's a ticking time bomb. And his dad moved them out of Baltimore, and they were a storied franchise in Baltimore. I mean, I don't want to bring up his dad, but it just seems like both of them are really like temperamental and they have anger problems. That's what it seems like with them. But that's what it seems like.
So yeah, I don't really know if it's more of the owner, like, you know, just being impatient, or if it's actually Jonathan Taylor just, you know, kind of being fed up. You know, maybe he's making a statement for the whole running back situation that's going on.
It could be.
Do you really think it's a coincidence that all this stuff is happening? Dalvin Cook being released from Minnesota, then Josh Jacobs leaving Vegas completely, and everyone's saying that he's not coming back. Saquon Barkley not showing up to OTAs, and then getting a 1-year contract for like what, $900,000 over the franchise tag. Like, right. So like, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like stepping back and, you know, standing with the running backs in this position, you know, because it's not just him. It's almost, and all these running backs that I name, they're top 5 running. Every single running back that I named was a top 5 running back. Yeah. So they're really like
Dalvin Cook's more of top 10, but they're all top 10. They're without a doubt top 10 running backs. In my opinion. Yeah.
And you know, this has been bullying up for a while. So 2 weeks ago, somebody named Matt Miller, an NFL scout.
NFL, scout, right?
Yeah. So on June 17th, he tweeted this: 1, draft running back. 2, play the running back. If he's good, 3, franchise tag the running back 1 time, and then 1, draft running back. So I think what he's trying to say is, you know, keep him for 2 years and then get rid of him.
I mean, that's the way it's going right now. Look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Chiefs. He was a first-round draft pick, and then 2-3 years he's a nobody. And they draft his replacement in the 7th round, Isaiah Pacheco. So that kind of defines it. The Chiefs define everything right now with not paying the wide receiver, just getting it done without a legitimate running back. It's just, I think everyone's trying to copy the Chiefs in a way, but I digress.
And then Jonathan Taylor replied to that thread saying, 1, if you're good enough, they'll find you. 2, if you work hard enough, you'll be successful, if you're successful. 3, you boost your organization. And then 4, it doesn't matter. You're a running back. And that kind of made me laugh because that literally describes the situation perfectly.
And that happened before the trade request, so you started to see some dissatisfaction.
Things were boiling up, for sure.
And we thought he was just sticking up for the other guys, but we didn't realize that it was boiling internally.
It's very true, though. He literally brought up the organization.
Yeah, he did.
He was the only key factor
because they don't have legitimate. They don't have. I mean, Michael Pittman's okay, but they don't have great receivers, so he's the offense. It's kind of like the Giants in a way. Now they have Waller, but before that, it's all Saquon Barkley. It's all Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like these are running backs that are key factors on their offense, and they're still not being treated right and not being paid. A nice, good amount of money.
You're right, and it just keeps coming back to. It's the same theme every week when we talk about this. It's just like, obviously the owners know that these running backs are valuable, but they think they can get a similar value at a cheaper price from 5th rounders, 6th rounders,
They really play it as a business and not like as their real human beings.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a business.
It is.
At the same time, it's not a video game. These are people with emotions.
Exactly. This isn't Madden. We just switching out players.
Yeah, you're just trying to control the salary cap. This is so fun. This isn't fun when you're playing with people's lives, having to tell someone in the office, hey, we're gonna trade you, or hey, you're gonna get cut. That's the non-fun part about this business.
No, it's not. And there's dynamic going on, and there's chemistry. And taking one piece out of there might affect everything. I don't think the Colts are gonna be anything if they got rid of him.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Bad owners. And I like the GM, but bad owners and bad GMs can wiggle their way out of these things when they draft a special quarterback. And Anthony Richardson looks like he's going to be something. So in a few years, he can make us all forget about everything Jim Irsay said, done. All it takes is a good quarterback and a good head coach. And I think they hired a smart offensive head coach in Shane Steichen from the Philadelphia Eagles. And now if you get the quarterback right, voila.
Well, they really should have taken a note from the Giants. You see how perfectly they work out with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. That could have been perfect for them. They could have Jonathan. I'm not pushing anything yet. He's still on the team. He's requesting.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. But that's
another, exactly. But still, you should have understanding that the running back's going to be paid.
And, especially, he's still relatively young. You could give him something, but I don't think they want to pay him early, and that's part of it.
He's 24. I mean,
he's young.
Yeah, I know, but you can give him a nice little 2-3 year deal, and everyone will be happy.
That is true. You can meet somewhere in the middle with these guys, but I think Jim Irsay, he was talking about how they've been being a little disrespectful because they all agreed on this. I think it's the CBA and the Players Association. They all came to terms on these agreements with the franchise tags, and now the running backs. I think Jim Irsay sees that as they're turning their back on the agreements that the Players Association made with the owners.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in a way, especially while Anthony Richardson's still young and learning, he could take a lot of that running load off of a star running back. So maybe that's what they're thinking, that they don't need Jonathan Taylor anymore, but that'd be a little ludicrous. When he's healthy, he's definitely top 5 running back, maybe a top 3 running back. He was the best running back 2 years ago.
He's a top 5 right now, for sure.
Even after missing half of last year, that's how special he is.
I know. He still put up decent numbers for the amount he missed.
Exactly, right, correct. And I'd like to also add that Zach Moss, the backup, broke his arm, so maybe that changes things a little bit. Maybe you're okay, now we got to make sure this guy's on board. But you still got him locked up for this year, so does it really matter at the end of the day?
I do, so I'm saying all of this, but I understand a little bit where the Colts are coming from, because you got to realize he still has a year left on his contract.
Right.
So what is he doing? I understand, I think he's trying to,
get paid before he gets another year of tread.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He wants to get an extension and make sure he gets a good pay before either A, he gets hurt, or B, the amount that a running back gets paid completely changes after this season, because that's where it seems like it's heading.
Yeah, and it seems like it's getting lower, if anything.
That's what I'm saying.
The franchise tag value has been going down.
That's what everyone's thinking. And I think that's why everyone's requesting a trade, not showing up to OTAs. They're like, okay, we're important too.
I get where Jonathan Taylor's coming from, but like, doesn't he realize the owners are thinking the same thing? Like, all right, he's going to want to get paid early, and we're not paying him early. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think it's a chess game with this stuff.
It really is.
You know, once football starts, you forget about this stuff. Like the Lamar stuff a few years ago, we forgot as the season went on, and it picked up again in the offseason. So this is just like offseason talk. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to stay, and I think you probably feel like that too. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? No one wants to pick up a running back that kind of gets hurt, and like when they like the Pacheco situation, they could just draft two guys that can equal that one guy, and they're cheaper. Those two guys will be cheaper than Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, yeah, like you said before, the Chiefs are really like
the model of the league.
Yeah, no, they are. They're really changing the game.
They're changing the landscape of how teams stack up their rosters. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's two ways right now in the NFL. There's stack up your roster, get a rookie on a quarterback on a rookie contract like the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, and the rookie quarterback balls out. And there's the other way. Have Patrick Mahomes and then don't pay anyone else other than Kelsey.
You pay like two
Chris
or three
Jones,
other people and then call it a day.
You're good because that's all you need.
And everything else will fall back in line. And that's a great way to go about it. But you need a star, a real star.
Especially teams like that don't have Mahomes. Yeah, you need it. Like, obviously, like you said last week, Joe Burrow obviously benefits
I didn't want to steer off, but yeah, exactly.
Obviously, Joe Burrow benefits from Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Absolutely. He did in LSU, too, when he had Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
That's why I feel like things are really going to change there, because, like, you can't pay everyone.
No.
And they have a star there. Like, I don't know if people got it confused last week, but I don't think
he's got to clarify
Joe Burrow was being carried by his team. All I was trying to get at is they have a stacked roster.
They do, especially on offense.
And I'm saying if you throw a rookie in there and he gets it done, it really stirs up question on what do you do with Joe Burrow at that point. If you can get it done, it's like,
well, yeah, if they make the Super Bowl without Joe Burrow, obviously you don't need Joe Burrow. But they made it with Joe Burrow, and I think you understand that. Like, I get what you were getting at last week. You were getting me worked up. I was like, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this. Freaking out on air, but
getting back on topic. But yeah, anyway.
Well, speaking that, another good point that goes into all of this, like not even running backs aside, but like how the Chiefs kind of are the model of the league. Mm-hmm. Juju Smith-Schuster, for example. The Chiefs weren't going to pay him. They gave him a 1-year prove-it deal. I think it was like $9 million, and a little more in incentive, something like that. I might be a few million off. He performs, puts up I think like 800 yards, and then he goes and gets paid by New England, and New England falls for it. See, the Chiefs are the smart ones. The Chiefs are like, I'm gonna pay you for 1 year. You're gonna win a Super Bowl, and then we're not gonna pay you. Goodbye. Recycle.
Are we gonna do that with Kadarius Toney now? Kadarius Toney's really stepping up.
Yeah, but he's still got a couple more years before he has a contract. But he's and now he's always hurt too, and we don't know really what's gonna be. I mean, Sky Moore could step up this year. He was like nowhere last year after they drafted him, so you never know. I think they still have Valdez Scantling.
Kadarius Toney's gonna be the next star over there.
That's definitely reasonable, especially how special he is when he has the ball in his hands.
But the other question I want to ask is, what happens when you get rid of Travis Kelce? I mean, he's like going into his 30s now.
He went into this a few weeks ago. He said, "Am I a little underpaid with this? Yeah, but I'd rather stay and win. You know, like Travis Kelce gets it. He can make money in commercials. He can make his money elsewhere as long as you're winning. You can get jobs as an analyst after. Like if you're in a winning culture, like Brady, Belichick, they're going to be set for life because, like, you're a winner. You're going to get all the commercials. You're going to get all the sponsors. You're going to get all the deals. Tom Brady built the TB12 brand during his football career, and he wouldn't have built that if he didn't win 7 Super Bowls. So
no, I know. There's money elsewhere to be made, and that's what's a good benefit about it. And you're only going to get that if you're a star. You need to work your way up. And
you're winning Super Bowls. The mistake with that Baker Mayfield was in all those commercials, and
and then and it can go the either way. Yeah. And I feel like anytime like you're really not that good, you get commercials, you get
distraction,
the money, and then distractions, and
But speaking of Brady and when he was on the Patriots and Belichick, in my opinion, Dylan, the AFC East is the best division in football this year.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I feel like last year was like the NFC East, and now it's the AFC East, and it's pretty crazy.
The East in general was strong, both East, but more specifically in the AFC East, you got the Buffalo Bills, who have been having Super Bowl aspirations for like 2 or 3 years now. Yeah. The Miami Dolphins, and when Tua was upright, I think he was like what, like 8-0, 8-1 last year?
Added so many pieces.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, they added so many stars over there.
Then you got my New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers now and their young talent on rookie contracts. And then he takes a pay cut. They can get more players. Dalvin Cook might end up there. He might end up in Miami, too. So I'll pump the brakes on that.
And then Jonathan Taylor, if he does get traded. Yeah, what if the Jets come by and pick him up?
That Miami, too, because if Miami's in the business for Dalvin Cook, Miami would be interested in Jonathan Taylor as well.
Well, imagine that. Imagine Miami gets...
I don't want to imagine that.
No. Listen, it might be crazy. They get Cook, and you guys get Jonathan Taylor.
Well, here's the thing.
That would be crazy.
See, that won't happen because the Jets, the only reason they would get Dalvin Cook is for cheap because they had Breece Hall. And they just drafted a running back, and they drafted Israel Bonaconda. We were watching him a little bit tonight. He was okay. But I think he has great home run hitting ability. And then Michael Carter a few years ago, too. So they got plenty of running backs. The only reason they were bringing Dalvin Cook is if it was for cheap. Once he starts driving that price up, the Jets are going to be out. So I don't think they're going to get Jonathan Taylor.
Fair enough.
But then also, the last team, the worst team in the AFC East, the New England Patriots. And
they're a mediocre team, but they're still...
They'll win 7-8 games just based off Belichick and defense alone.
Yeah.
But, I mean... I think we got to get into this first in the AFC East, Dylan. The Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi quarterback competition. I think we got to start with that first, just because of how crazy it is. The reporter asked Belichick, do you have a competition going on for quarterback right now? And he's like, everyone's competing out here. And he goes, so you're not ready? I think he asked basically along the lines if he's not ready to name Mac Jones the starter. And he's like, we're all competing out here. That's what we're doing. Is it a little bit of Belichick,
Okay. So it might, honestly, it really could have just been a Belichick moment. He heard a wise comment and he's like, what do you mean? Yeah, it's competition. It's all, just him just like
being a smart,
shooting the breeze,
guy,
just.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Belichick being Belichick, but you got to take it at face value. He didn't name Mac Jones the starter. Mac Jones isn't the starter yet. Any other quarterback, Brian Dable and Daniel Jones. You think Brian Dable is going to... They ask him that, yeah, Daniel Jones is our guy. Absolutely. Look, Mac Jones is average, but his rookie year, he was decent when he had, a smart offensive coordinator. I mean, Josh McDaniels not a great head coach with the Raiders, but he's proven to be an okay offensive coordinator. And, now you're bringing in Bill O'Brien. So I think he's going to improve this year. I do think he's average. He has a ceiling, but he's not as bad as he showed last year.
So I said this before. I really don't think they're giving him his opportunity to shine. They're really holding back on him. And listen, They picked up Juju Smith-Schuster, obviously. They
re-signed Devontae Parker.
They re-signed Devontae Parker. But those are both number twos. Those aren't
I would even say Devontae Parker's number 3 at this point. 4 maybe. He doesn't even get open.
If they really wanted Hopkins, I feel like they could have got him.
They
just throw one more digit in front of there.
Yes. Yes. And Belichick, he's stubborn.
No, yeah. So he didn't want to pay him. So I feel like they're really taking maybe one more year before they start thinking about really taking a step forward, because they could have added another big piece to their offense, but they didn't. They're not worried about that.
I feel like this question has to be asked at this point. I know he's a legend. He's probably the best head coach of all time, but is Bill Belichick on the hot seat this year? Can he get fired, Dylan?
No. It's like a Mike Tomlin situation. You can't. I
feel like I agree with that. Maybe you take away his GM powers because he's made some bad moves, but he's still, a competitive head coach. He's a good defensive schemer. I just don't like him as a GM anymore. He can't draft wide receivers. He signed 2 tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, for a lot of money at the time. And they both... Hunter Henry's been okay, but have you seen Jonnu Smith in that offense? Do you even know who Jonnu Smith is? Exactly. So, he had a good year or two on Tennessee, and then he got this big contract with New England, and I haven't seen him since. So...
No, I completely agree with that. I feel like he's too in his older ways.
He's set in his ways. He won't adapt to nowadays. It's wide receiver, left tackle, and he's still spending on defense. The good old saying, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. And that's what New England has right now.
Exactly.
And that's what New England has right now. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott, the head coach, hanging a banner of a picture of the Lombardi Trophy in their practices. He wants to set the standard, apparently, and I get it. I get it. He wants to motivate his players. It's Doesn't it feel a little silly though, Dylan?
I don't know if it's him just trying to saying, hey, we should have won a Super Bowl by now, or him saying like, listen, this is our year, let's do it. But either way, that's embarrassing, man.
To me, it is.
It really is. Like I get he's trying to hype up his players, saying everyone like, let's go, this is our year, but. Damn, man. Because
is it their year though? Because now
we've been saying this for the last 3-4 years.
I know, and I think their biggest shot was that first year Josh Allen started to like kind of ball out, like 2020, I think it was. And ever since then, there's been like a slight.
Yeah, I was about to say, you nailed it on the head there. Like they've really gone up.
They peaked and then
they're peaking. Hopefully they just don't plateau, because I don't know.
I don't know, because I do think they might be a little motivated after the embarrassing loss to Cincinnati in the playoffs last year. So they might be a little motivated. They've lost some players on defense. Their offensive line isn't great. It's doable, especially with Josh Allen, who can move, but he needs to stop getting hit as much, even though he's big. And Nyheim Hines is out for the year, one of the running backs. And Buffalo, it just. They can still go either way. They can either win the division or they can make a wild card.
If they got Dalvin Cook, that would be a big piece there. I don't think they have the cap space at all. But if they did, and if they could work out some deals,
Dalvin Cook would be they could use Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. Yeah. I think there's a lot of buzz around the facility that James Cook's going to be the next guy to step up. Until I see that from a Bills running back, I don't believe that.
No,
because they're too Josh Allen reliant.
Yeah, exactly. I was
in the
about
run
to
game.
Say that. Yeah,
in the run game,
they don't. They just use him way too much. And
yeah. And as he starts to age, hopefully you start to wane off that. Like Lamar started to learn the slide a little bit. And, personally, I do like a quarterback that's tough enough to take a hit. And Josh Allen will lower his shoulder. I do respect that.
Yeah, he's a big guy, man.
But long term, I don't know if that's going to work in this league. So, Jalen Ramsey and the Miami Dolphins now getting into the next team in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm pretty sure after the meniscus surgery, now they realize he might be out till December. So now instead of being 6 to 8 weeks, it's going to be a lot longer than that.
Yeah, they actually did a really good move. They actually picked up Eli Apple.
That was a smart move. They needed him. Yeah.
And honestly, that's just going to make them so much more lethal. Like, listen, imagine what they're going to be like when they have Ramsey and then Eli Apple. They
have players on defense.
They're going to be elite.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. They were great on defense last year as a rushing defense. As a passing defense, they allowed the 5th most pass yards, I think. You have a Pro Bowl level corner before this, Xavier Howard. Now you brought in Jalen Ramsey, and I thought that was going to be the next step, along with the defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Now that he's out till December, I know Eli Apple's a legitimate corner in this league. He's not Jalen Ramsey. Does this sway things a little bit on their playoff aspirations?
No, not at all.
I think it might.
Not even a little.
I'm not ready to remove them from my playoff prediction yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it now, because this might be bigger than people are letting on. I know Jalen Ramsey kind of took a step back last season, but I still have him as a top 3 corner. I have him at 3 right now. Jair Alexander's right behind him 4, in my opinion. Surtain and Sauce are top 2, whichever way you want to take that. And Slay's up there too. So
I feel like they still picked up Eli Apple at a good time, where they still have time to, get used to him and put him in.
They have a month, yeah. They have a month to get
exactly.
Ready.
And then, like I said, once Jalen Ramsey's back, like, you can't even say they're not going to be one of the best defenses.
They have players,
stars all around.
They do,
on offense and defense.
They do have players.
Jalen Waddle.
They do have players on defense too. They have some names on defense.
Yeah,
but their back end was a little iffy last season, and I thought bringing in a top 3 corner would help that. Now that he's going to miss most of the season, what are you going to do? I mean, Eli Apple started for the Bengals in the Super Bowl. He was on the Giants for a little bit. That didn't go well, but he's an okay corner. I'm pretty sure he was also on the Saints. He's okay, but he's not Jalen Ramsey. Xavier Howard needed help on the other side. Hopefully, Eli Apple can give him that.
Well, even like just bringing his name in the facility, that I'm sure that'll get everyone going.
Yeah, because he also likes to talk a lot of smack that might hype his teammates up.
Exactly.
He gets a little vocal. Eli Apple,
I said this the other week. You bring stars around other players, everyone steps up. They respect them.
Right, and it builds some momentum and some hype within the building. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the Jets, New York Jets, finally
can't forget them.
Yeah, my New York Jets playing the Cleveland Browns right now. I don't know if at this point the game might be over.
They were up by 13 when we last saw.
Yeah, and Zach Wilson was okay. He made a good deep throw, but he also, he missed a couple throws. He fell down trying to run for a first down, but at least he didn't throw a dumb throw there. Zach Wilson, it is what it is.
We're probably not.
I don't think he'll ever see him again as a Jets score.
That's what I'm saying. What do you think they're going to... I think it's actually a pretty smart move what they're doing now. You know, play him in the preseason, see what he is, have him ride behind Aaron Rodgers, and because what are you guys gonna do? Because Aaron Rodgers is only temporary. You got to realize that he's like a 2 or 3 year.
Right, exactly. It's interesting to bring that up, and you were correct. It's probably a 2 or 3 year thing, unless he gets injured or it's a disaster. 2 or 3 year thing. Now Zach Wilson's going to his 3rd year. After this season, before his 4th season, they have to decide whether they're going to pick up his 5th year option or not. It is a little messed up how you have to do that before their 4th season, not before their 5th. But after this season, you have to figure out if you're going to want him for 5 years or not. Obviously, they're not going to pick that up because he's a backup. So now, do you sign him to a contract after that? How do you do that when he's been terrible? So I don't see a realistic way that Zach Wilson is the future quarterback of the Jets. I think they're going to showcase him and try to get a 6th round, 7th round pick out of him.
No, that's
for a desperate team. That's the only option you have right now. They're trying to salvage it.
Okay, but then what do you do after that?
I don't know.
Exactly. You might have to.
You're not thinking about it after this right now. You're thinking like that's the whole thing with the Jets right now. They don't care about after Aaron Rodgers. It's now. This is it. After
they might just win a Super Bowl and then reboot.
Yeah, but they do have young players right now on rookie contracts. But by the time Aaron Rodgers starts to retire, they're gonna have to pay those guys.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They win a Super Bowl, everyone's gonna be expecting to get paid.
Yes, that's what happens. Yes, that's why Tyreek Hill left. And then I hate to bring up Kansas City all the time, but they're the model of the league. That's why Tyreek Hill left. You get paid, you get success, you want your money. That's how it works. How it works.
I don't know. I don't know where the Jets are going with this. It's kind of like a win-lose situation or a lose-win situation.
No, you're right though. Even if they okay. So let's say he looks good in this preseason. He plays well, and they trade him for like a 6th, 7th round pick. Okay, you got some value back for him, but you drafted him 2nd overall, so you win. You salvage it a little bit, but you lose because you lost. The value depreciated a lot from the 2nd overall pick to a 6th round pick.
Unless they just keep on repeating themselves. Oh, we'll pick up another quarterback. We'll pick up another one. And pick up another one.
I think here's what I think. If you can't trade him this offseason, if he plays well in practice all season, maybe you think about picking up that 5th year option. Just think about it because.
He is behind a veteran quarterback,
but he is a boss at this point. He couldn't even throw a screen, so people are probably gonna demolish me in the comments after this for saying keep Zach Wilson.
No, I get that, but I don't know what other option they have after this. You know,
I don't either. It's right now. It's now or never for the New York Jets. Even if they don't win a they have to win a Super Bowl. As a New York Jets fan, I've been waiting for this for too long.
I know, but I think Zach Wilson is going to be somewhere in the league. I don't think.
He'll get a second shot. These quarterbacks always.
We just don't know if it's going to be on the.
Trey Lance might get a second shot.
I don't know about that one. That one. I've seen too many passes of him literally throwing it from wide receivers going that way. He throws it over. There.
I saw that too.
What are we watching right now?
It's funny because I think we're talking about the same video because I have the picture of the video in my head and I think we're really talking about the same thing. But interesting.
No, but I've seen so many of them.
I know. Yeah. That is true.
He's really embarrassed himself in the offseason. Maybe he hasn't even had a chance to do anything.
I don't know. I always hear that Zach showed a lot of promise in practice because you don't see those videos from Zach really, or the Jets just do a better job of hiding the videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now this actually brings up an interesting question. You're the GM. Say you're on a team. You need a quarterback and you want to give someone a flyer. Zach Wilson or Trey Lance?
Oh, Zach Wilson by a mile.
I gotta agree with that because at least he could throw a football. That's a lot of the reason Trey Lance was drafted high because of his size. He can move. People saw him as like a Cam Newton almost, but this has been more of like Jamarcus Russell. Well, not Jamarcus Russell. He hasn't even gotten the chance to play Trey Lance. But I do agree. I would have to go with Zach Wilson too, just because I don't want to start from scratch. Okay, Trey Lance. Okay, Trey, we're gonna show you how to throw a football accurately today. I know Zach Wilson struggles on screens and stuff, but he makes the hard stuff look special. Zach could sling it. Zach's got an A-arm. That's not a question.
At the same time, we're judging him and stuff, but we really haven't seen him play actual football.
That's another thing.
At
least Zach got the opportunity. Trey Lance could be better than Zach Wilson.
I feel like you just got to give him one shot. One season and just see what he is.
Exactly. Someone's going to give him
a fly. He would be a good backup, maybe.
Well, the thing is, it's like a backup, you want someone that's not for a backup, you want someone
to have somebody reliable.
Exactly. Less wow, more of accurate, like a Colt McCoy. Mac Jones, we don't know if he's going to work out as a starter or not. But if he doesn't, he's going to bounce around the league as a backup because he's exactly what you want in a backup. Can make all the simple throws, very accurate. Not flashy.
He'll get it done for a week.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. And that's why Fitzpatrick was so great because Fitzpatrick was more
literally
pizzazz,
on every other team.
Yeah.
I think he's like one of the players that's been on the most teams.
Yes, Josh McCown's another one, but the journeymen's are always the best ones though. Like, Jacoby Brissett fits that well. Now that we kind of dove into every team in this division, rank it right now. How is it going to finish at the end of the year?
So I think I was saying this before. Like, it could literally go like year by year. It kind of flipped upside down.
The Bills were last.
No. Bills were last. Patriots were first. And the Jets Miami were kind of like in the middle. But that's a good question. I think I'm gonna rank it. I think Miami's gonna take a big step up this year. They have all the stars, and then obviously the Jets because they just got Aaron Rodgers. They have to have some aspirations.
So Miami 1, Jets 2.
Jets 2.
Okay.
And then. Obviously Buffalo, and then, but I feel like that can change in one season. Those two, the Bills and the Patriots. I think the Bills could take a big step back, and the Patriots take a big step forward.
See, I think they could take a step back, the Bills, but I don't know about a big step back because you have Josh Allen. So I don't, they might still even if they're okay. So even if they finish third, they still might sneak into the playoffs. It's possible.
But it is the AFC, so I don't know if there's going to be that option.
Right. You got the Ravens, the Chargers,
that's what I'm saying.
The Steelers, the Browns.
There's probably going to be one team from the AFC. Yeah. I really think so. Yeah. Maybe the 2. AFC East, there's no way that 3 teams from the AFC East with all the other contenders, no way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. That's what I'm saying. The AFC is very interesting this year.
It's interesting you say that because you could go watch episode 2, but the way I had it finishing was Buffalo won still. I still think Buffalo is going to be strong enough to win the division, and they just have a winning culture there.
That's crazy. I had them at 3, so yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Those 3 can go either way. Those really 3, we don't know how it's going to finish. But the Bills at 1. I have the Dolphins at 2. I just like you said, there's just so much talent.
The Ramsey thing, right?
We'll get into that. So I had the Dolphins at 2. They just have so much talent, and when 2 is healthy, he puts up numbers. I don't know how many times I have to say that. I have the Jets at 3, but I have all 3 of them making the playoffs. That's how good this division is, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, the Patriots 4, obviously. Worst team in the division by far. Not by far, but talent-wise, yeah.
No, they don't have the talent.
I don't even want to get into. I don't even want to
roster-wise, you can't even.
Yeah, they have one of the worst rosters in the league.
But they have a good coaching staff. That's why it's kind of like
That's why they win.
You don't know with them.
That's why they win 7-8 games based off coaching and defense alone. Mm-hmm. But this Ramsey thing, I don't know. I'll leave it for now, but I'm gonna keep this in mind. Okay, I'll leave the way it is for now. I'll keep it Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. But this could change. But now the season's really getting underway.
Now it's getting juicy.
We really got to come up with our predictions and where we think everything's going to finish off. Maybe not all the standing predictions, but our playoff predictions. We have, the Hall of Fame game, and it's all vanilla right now. You don't see blitzing or anything. You're just trying to get
just the simple stuff. They're really just trying to see what their third and fourth
exactly. You're trying to get a read on the players. That's really all you're trying to do right now. But all right, thanks, Dylan.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
See you next week.